Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Dali. This is the second video of my digital nomad trip. Living on the road across the US for 6 months was one of my biggest adventures in 2021. It is also the biggest expense. A digital nomad is basically someone who travels and works in different locations independently through their laptops. Not only do you need your laptop and internet, but also need money because this experiment is expensive. You definitely need a budget because if you don't control money, money will control you. Before I show you the total cost of my trip, I want you to know that unlike many other digital nomads doing couch surfing, sleeping in the camp, and eating peanut butter on the road to save money, I chose a more comfortable upscale lifestyle. I heard a lot of great things about couch surfing and camping. They are cheap but don't provide all the services you need. Well, don't get me wrong, I like saving money, and I did save a lot of money by making wise choices for this trip within my budget. And I also got access to all the equipment and services needed. If you have time, then the all camping road trip can save you a bunch of money. But if you need to work full-time, this is a video you don't want to miss. In this video, I'd like to share the total cost of our 6 months of travel expenses across the US, while my boyfriend and I both worked remotely as full-time professionals. I will also include our monthly expenses such as groceries, transportation, living expenses, and other miscellaneous costs. There were a lot of stories happen on the road and some lessons I learned in the hard way. Hope I can share my bad experiences so you can avoid them. Our first and the biggest expense is lodging. We spent $16,174 for 6 months of living space, mostly Airbnbs and hotel. That's $2,696 a month, $95 a day, 47.5 per person per day after splitting. I know that's expensive, but that's actually lower than what we paid for our apartments and utilities in LA in total. Yes, LA is crazy. That's partly why we went on this trip in the first place. We stayed with family for 5 days in Durham for free and another 5 days in Times Square, which was a gift from my boyfriend that he paid for the previous year. Therefore, we didn't put this cost on our spreadsheet. Luckily, we were able to stay within our budget of $3,000 a month. If you want to learn how we traveled without paying our rent in LA and how we prepare for our digital nomad trip, you can check my previous video here. I want you to understand why we spent so much money on accommodation. Since we were traveling during COVID, we wanted private living space so we could focus on work safely. I taught online and my boyfriend coded on his laptop. And plus, we both love cooking delicious food, so we decided that we didn't want to share space with others. And we also needed a parking space and space for our 2 bikes. We usually stayed in 1-bedroom apartments or detached guest houses, so we could have separate rooms for meetings. However, you may only have to pay half of our accommodation cost if you only need a shared space or a motel. We are also very serious about COVID, so we got vaccinated. Always wear our masks in public and use the hand sanitizer frequently at gas stations and public restrooms. We started our trip from Los Angeles, staying or near major cities such as Oakland, San Jose, Portland, and Seattle. Then we went back to LA for a month before we traveled to Hendersonville, Durham, Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, Boulder, Las Vegas, and finally came back to LA. There are many cities we passed through in a single night that I didn't list here. Here is the Google spreadsheet we created that breaks down each place cost. Those are the cities we passed by and stayed in, and this is a cost per night. Well, each item I mentioned here in this video was for 2 people's costs. We found that living outside a big city can save you a lot of money while giving you the chance to explore it. For example, we live in Oakland, which is near San Francisco, and New Jersey, which is near New York City. We stayed in Oakland for 2 weeks in March for $1,450. That's $97 per night. After splitting, each of us only paid $48 per night. We liked the Airbnb there. We chose it because it's a superhost and had many good reviews. Superhosts have more experience and know what they're doing. We not only have a lot of space and a nice view, but also a washer dryer for laundry. Not to mention, it's a only 26-minute drive from downtown SF. Even though Oakland is known as a high crime area, you will be fine if you don't walk on the street alone at night. We didn't have any problems going to grocery, picking up food, or biking downtown Oakland. We didn't choose to live in SF is because a small Airbnb studio in SF could cost over $200 per night, which is way beyond our budget. We choose to commute to SF instead of paying double the price because we think the lodging isn't worth of it. Even though it's tempting to stray beyond your budget for better locations, this will quickly add up to an empty wallet. Stay within your budget when possible. Since we were changing places every week or two, we bought a virtual mailbox service for $15 per month. After registering the service, the mailbox company will open and scan your mail for you to view later. It's quite convenient, especially for people who are expecting important documents on the road. Just remember to update all your services to the new address, or you may miss important documents. For example, I forgot to change my DMV address to my friend's house, so I received the penalties after coming back from my road trip due to overdue toll road fees. Since we cooked a lot and made meal plans on the road, we spent $2,431 for 6 months of groceries. That's $405 a month, $202 per person in an average month, which is not bad. We cooked different types of food such as Chinese, Indian, Vietnamese, Italian, and American. That means we also spend more money on other exotic ingredients too. But we didn't buy in bulk since we were never able to finish all the perishables before the next leg of our trip. However, we spent $2,197 on dining, which is almost the same amount as our groceries, because we splurge in New York, the paradise of food. Here is another customized Google Sheet for the cost of each month, including March, April, May, June, July, August, during that half year. We collected our receipts and copied and pasted the bill at the end of each month, so it shows each category, such as groceries, transportation, dining, health, entertainment, and other living expenses. Well, you can also use other apps such as Mint, but this customized Google Sheet will help you include your cash spending and split with others more conveniently. The great thing about this spreadsheet is that after entering each month's data, it displays the total value across months in graphs and tables automatically. This is a graph that shows our expenses from March to August. Yeah, we can see our groceries is increasing a lot in August. And this is a table of our expenses. For example, here we can see our July dining is almost triple of the average expenses. It helped us to compare month to month so we could check if each category was within or beyond our budget. I love this Google spreadsheet. It helps me trace my spending so I can mindfully plan for next month's budget. If you want to use my Google Sheet, I will link it down below so you can duplicate it for free. If there's anything I wish I had brought with me, it would be a cooler. Many New York hotels don't provide a fridge, so we basically had to toss over any leftover perishables each night. Bringing a cooler would definitely have cut down on our food waste and paid for itself in the long run. Overall, we spent $4,627 on food in total. Not only that, we used a $60 meal credit from my boyfriend's employer during that half year. It's a use it or lose it credit, so we use it for dining out or groceries. That's $1,560 we saved during that half year, but we didn't include it in our food cost here. I recommend to have a meal plan because food is expensive at convenience stores. We don't drink coffee, and mostly we only drink water from our refillable bottle. We made a point of resisting impulsive buying, which helped us save a lot of money. Our total cost of transportation is $1,455, including $1,313 on gas and $142 miscellaneous costs, such as toll, parking, and metro. We highly recommend using the Gas Buddy app to find cheap gas near you, but avoid the remote areas because the gas could be double the price you get elsewhere. We paid $2.57 per gallon in taxes, but also had to pay almost $6 in the desert. Get AAA when you are on the road in case your car breaks down or needs tow service. It's worth the peace of mind even though we ended up not using it. As for parking, if you don't want to pay for parking, find a free spot a few blocks away. We're surprised to find that parking is $75 per night in New York. So I strongly suggest people should take public transportation or bikes in NYC because the metro could take you almost anywhere. We found a free parking spot a few blocks away from our hotel, and then we rode our bikes to and from our car. We were so glad to have our bikes since they allow us to get around easily, even on the metro. Not only that, it helped us to get some much needed exercise. We only spent $182 on entertainment. We spent most of our outdoor activities cycling on bike trails, but visiting museums was also one of our favorites. Remember, all the fun stuff is outdoors. You can do camping, hiking, kayaking, etc. But remember to be safe. I fell from my bike when it got lodged in a train rail in Seattle and got injured. So we had to commute to a pharmacy to get first aid gear. I ended up canceling an important meeting due to this incident. Luckily, it only took a few days before my knee was fully recovered. We felt so happy that everything went well with no car accidents and no big tickets. It looks like everything went so smoothly in the past 5 months, but here came the climactic final twist on our journey. It was a medical emergency I had on the second day when we arrived in Vegas. Unfortunately, I ended up going to the ER with my boyfriend's help. I was in huge pain on the way and waiting to see doctors in the hospital. The doctor told me I needed to have the surgery right away. So after 5 hours of preparation, I went to the OR. Thank God the surgery was a success, so I was able to be released at that night from the hospital. After surgery, I had to stay in bed for a few weeks, so I literally had to depend on my boyfriend to cook and take care of me, so we couldn't go out in Vegas for the rest of the time there. I was lucky to have insurance to cover my out-of-state emergency $86,000 bill, but I still have to pay $3,900 out of pocket after insurance coverage. However, we are grateful that the surgery was timely and I recovered fully without any permanent side effects. This was a life-threatening experience, and I would never want to go through this again. This is such an expensive lesson to learn. If I could have done better, I should have gone to see the doctor when I was feeling unwell in Boulder, but I ignored it. That's why I had to tolerate huge pain that was almost killing me for a week. So please, never delay your health treatment. If you have some unusual pain or symptom, please prioritize your health. Plan ahead to see a doctor before it becomes a possible emergency. If you travel alone, text a friend or family member along the route, letting them know where you are in case of emergency. Since the medical bill is not part of the expected travel expenses, I did not include that here either. One of my least favorite things in a road trip is having to unpack all of my essentials at each stop. Therefore, it's very important to pack when you're relaxed and not in a rush. We lost a pair of AirPods, a hair dryer, and some small items when we were in a rush to leave. Unfortunately, we had to spend money to buy them again. We try to pack everything the day before we leave, so we were calm and able to casually focus on gathering all our belongings. You can make a list of packing items too. We usually spoke out loud at final check, like, I got my keys, my wallet, my food is on container, I packed my toiletries too. I know it sounds silly, but it's very useful. Do this. This way, we won't miss important items. Overall, our total cost for 6 months of a digital nomadism is $22,570. After splitting the total cost, each of us paid $11,285, not including our prepaid hotel gift, meal credit, unexpected medical costs, and other personal shopping costs. I hope my detailed breakdown of budget is helpful for you. Last but not least, find someone that you can stand 24/7 hours to travel with you. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know how I was able to afford this trip, I'd like to share with you my saving and investing tips too. Stay on the budget. If you watch your pennies, your dollars will take care of themselves. See you next time.